Hi gamers, here is my PSP game collection, all 53 of them, and I'd like to go through them with you. Now I gotta warn you beforehand, I did play quite a bit more DS than the PSP. It's just the DS for me just had way more different kind of experiences, whereas the PSP got really great portable versions of many many of the kinds of experiences that you could experience on bigger consoles. So I'm not really a traveling player. I did all my portable gaming at home as well, so just the DS was the console for me. But that's not to say that I don't recognize how many great games the system had. It's just that I do have quite a bit of sealed games here. I hope you can forgive me. I did get many of these later in life when the PSP was the stores were getting rid of PSP stock, so I did get quite a few sealed games back then and just didn't have the time to open them up yet. But I'm sure you'll agree that it's just better to have the game in my collection, even if it's sealed, than to not have the game at all. So lots of great stuff here. Let's go. And the first game, sealed of course, the third birthday. This is the third game in the Parasite Eve RPG series made by Square Enix. And this is the Twisted Edition, this slightly thicker cardboard box here, which includes a bonus book and some art prints, stuff like that. Activision Hits Remixed, 40 plus games here. I guess Pitfall is the most famous old Activision game there is. And then Breath of Fire 3, a remake of the Super Nintendo original with greatly enhanced graphics. Burnout Legends, a great example of how the PSP got their own ports or even their own versions of classic series that debuted on bigger consoles and then were brought quite successfully to the PSP. Crush, a pretty cool puzzle game. It actually reminds me a bit of Fez, but I think Fez was originally announced way before Crush, but Crush did come out before Fez, but it's all good. Kind of is the same premise of turning the world around. Dead or Alive Paradise. Yeah, it is Dead or Alive. The Girls on Beach, I think this is like the third game in the series. Dissidia, Final Fantasy, another one of those sealed games that I got late in the day. Echochrome, a really cool puzzle game. Played this on the PlayStation 3, but it's great that PSP got its own port as well, as it's really great, well suited to the console, and it's really difficult to explain. You just have to take a look at some videos how Echochrome works. And they also released second game basically in the series, Echo Shift. I got one opened and one sealed copy here. More really quirky puzzling goodness here. Every Extend Extra, made by Tetsuya Mizoguchi, who's known for Rez and games like that. This is a puzzle game, a rhythm game, and really a gorgeous one at that. Fat Princess, Fistful of Cake. Flat Out, Head On, made by Bugbear, Go Finland. God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Again, this is still sealed. Didn't play this on the PSP like it, of course, it should have been. It was really a great game to be added to the PSP library, but I do have this on the PlayStation 3, where they released both of the PSP God of War games later on. Grand Theft Auto, Chinatown Wars, of course debuted on the DS, but didn't sell as well as Rockstar hoped, so they did a port of for the PSP as well. It does lose some, it is technically better on the PSP, but loses some of its minigame goodness as it had on the DS. Gran Turismo, this is the collector's edition. Again, still sealed. What do we have here? Some new cars and some Bugatti Veyron art cards as well. Gunpei. This debuted first on the Wonder Swan, only in Japan, but later was ported to. They made a new version for the PSP and DS. Really a unique puzzle game. The PSP had lots of those. Very well suited to portable gaming. Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier. This was originally debuted on the PlayStation 2 and was later ported to the PSP. Not made by Naughty Dog, but still an okay Jak and Daxter adventure. Juiced, Eliminator. Killzone Liberation. This was great because they didn't try to emulate or replicate the Killzone FPS games from PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, and instead opted to do something a bit different. This is a top-down action game, not on first-person shooter, so it's better suited for the PSP. Now, of course, the Vita has more power, so it copes with FPS games better, but this was just a ticket for PSP. Just the right kind of game released for it. Then the second row, Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep, and this is a special edition. Again, this slightly thicker cardboard box, and includes 2 art prints and a hardback art book. Then we have Loco Roco and Loco Roco 2, and Loco Roco it's actually my favorite PSP game. I did, especially the first one, I played this to death. I think I got everything you can find in the game, and I just love it. It's the graphics are so clean and crisp and very smooth. I love the music and all the sounds the Loco Rocos make, and it's to me the best, the biggest reason to own a PSP. Very charming, platforming, puzzling. And a third one of those thick cardboard boxes, again from Square Enix, Lord of Arcana, Slayer Edition. And let's check out what we have here. A mini soundtrack CD and a hardback art book. Again, I haven't played this. If somebody has, you can tell me if it's any good or not. Luminous and Luminous 2. This was really a significant game when the PSP was brand new. This was touted as the new Tetris. I wouldn't go that far, but it is a really a unique game, combining music and rhythm to block puzzling and you have to keep in rhythm to make the most out of your blocks and get the highest scores. So really a fantastic game, a fabulous presentation. And then we get to the Metal Gear games. Metal Gear Acid, again kind of like what the Killzone Liberation was. This was something different for the PSP, so not a real-time action game, but quite surprisingly a card-based action game. So it actually was quite weird when it first came out, but you got the hang of things quite quickly, and I really liked Metal Gear Acid. And of course there's tons and tons of cards and lots of variety here. Didn't play the second one actually at all, but I did finish the first game. Really liked it, and it was something that still is unique to the first PSP. Also, the PSP got some digital graphic novel goodness. This is basically it's slightly interactive, but basically a movie version of the first Metal Gear Solid game, all redrawn, voice acted by famous familiar voice actors, and it's a great thing to have if you haven't played the first game. But even if you have played it, I'm sure you'll find lots of good stuff here. There's plenty of Easter eggs in the slightly interactive scenes here, so it's quite a unique concept. Great things for the PSP to have. But the PSP also had two of more traditional Metal Gear Solid games. We have Portable Ops, which played mostly like a traditional Metal Gear Solid game, but it wasn't directed by Hideo Kojima, so some fans don't like it for that reason, and I do also greatly prefer Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker here with Hideo Kojima's and Yoshi Shinkawa's signatures, and dedicated to Bobby. I bought this from England when I visited there, and I got Bobby's game. But nice to have these two signatures here for sure. And Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is it brings the base development into the game. It's really addictive to recruit more people to your force and send them out to missions, and all the battling that goes on in the background when you're in addition to the regular real-time missions in the standard Metal Gear fare, and it's a really great variety in the game. It's one of the more addictive Metal Gear Solid games. Also got here the very cool limited edition that actually was donated to me by TV and Lust. If you haven't checked out his channel, do so now. You're really missing out on some great content. Thanks again, Craig, for this great game. And then Parappa the Rapper, a port of the PlayStation 1 cult classic, the rhythm game. And then we have Patapon, and there were 3 of these released for the PSP. I kinda put these in the same group as the Loco Roco games, as these are exclusive to the PSP and have this really unique take on an established platform. This time it's an action game, a strategy game, and also a rhythm game. So it's a really unique stuff, and again with great graphical presentation execution here. one of the best games on the game series on the PSP for sure. Phantasy Star Portable 2, Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, and this was later released on the PlayStation 2 as well, but this was first on the PSP, so a great game on the PSP library. Rock Band Unplugged, R-Type Tactics. This is again still sealed. This is something that I'm really tempted to tear open because I haven't played this game. I'm a huge shooter fan, R-Type fan, but of course this is something very different. A strategy game just set in the R-Type universe, but maybe one day I'll get to play this. I hear good things. And then to the last row. Here we have a trio of games. SOCOM, US Navy SEALs, Fireteam Bravo, and Fireteam Bravo 2, and SOCOM Tactical Strike. All three of these are the big boxed versions, which include the voice chat headset, and these were the premier online games for the PSP. Sid Meier's Pirates. I played this a lot on the original Xbox, and this is the same great game here in portable form, which is really dangerous thing to have, and this is super addictive. I just love the game. It's a fantastic. It is quite simplified. It's definitely not one of the more complicated Sid Meier games. Actually, this is quite a a jolly adventure with. But I think that's part of the charm, that anybody can pick it up and don't really have to stress over the small details. You can just live the life of a pirate. Sims 2 Castaway, Syphon Filter, Logan's Shadow. Syphon Filter started out on the original PlayStation 1 and continued here on the PSP. Taito Legends Powerup, another collection of really old retro games, all the way to Space Invaders, but also has some newer stuff as well, like New Zealand Story, games like that. And then the fourth and final of these Square Enix big boxed games, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. I just love the subtitles of the Tactics Ogre games. This is the premium edition, which includes a mini soundtrack CD and a hardback art book. Tony Hawk's Underground 2 Remix, Twisted Metal Head On, Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. Valkyrie Profile, it's a cult series almost. It first debuted on the PlayStation 1, and the original is a really expensive game, and also continued on various platforms since, including the PSP. Originally by Enix on the PlayStation 1, but now a part of Square Enix, of course. Great RPG series. White Knight Chronicles Origins. The White Knight Chronicles on the PlayStation 3, the first game, it wasn't really as good as people had hoped it'd be. But the PSP also got its own installment here. And one last game, Wipeout Pure. And Wipeout is a series that has long traditions with PlayStation mainly, and of course they had to make it so PSP as well. And yeah, it is a gorgeous game, plays well, and is very well suited to the big screen and a big screen of the PSP. Really showed its power early on in the life cycle of the console. And that is it for my PSP collection. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.